welcome to another series from the Breakaway League. In the bottom left of Tournament Galaxy, spawning as the green Nod Vanilla, we do have Lamas. And sliding into the top right corner of the map as the yellow Traveller 59, it is Aweg1, I'm not sure. And we have another best of 8 for you guys, and we're actually starting on the map Tournament Galaxy, a map I have not seen in a long time. It's fair to say. Why is there no game sound? Oh god. There we are. Okay, I couldn't hear it. You guys probably could. But here we are on the map. Tournament Galaxy. Now this is, like I said, a map I've very rarely seen lately. Most players seem to just avoid it. It's a bit too campy. And it's just a difficult map to enjoy because it's very rare. You actually need to attack. You can sort of just sit in your base, build up a massive army, and go from there without really being too worried about anything else. Now, will we see a rush from Lamas? There was no disintegrators from our Traveller player. No, Lamas looks like he's going for some type of unit that isn't a harvester. It's just going to be a raider buggy and then into harvesters. And you can see that's too slow to be an operations center. So it will be just an eco game from our Nod player as well as from our Traveller player. So first game of the series, both players deciding they're going to play it safe, get their spikes, and go for eco. Nothing out of the ordinary. Probably the two factions with the most rushing. Well, Traveller doesn't have a lot of rushes. It's just that disintegrators. You can do disintegrators in so many different ways. You can do it with fast legs. You can do it without fast legs. You can do two different groups of disintegrators. And of course, Nod has bikes and flame tanks and reckoners and shadow teams as well. Although you would never do shadow teams on this map. MCV here for Lamas has been forgotten about for quite a bit of time there. Blue Tiberium getting targeted by that harvester from Aweg. Aweg? I'm going to say Aweg. Aweg. I'm going to say Aweg. Aweg. I'm not sure. I'll probably mix and match throughout the series. But Seeker Tank's now coming out to defend that Blue Tiberium harvester, but Lamas isn't even interested in trying to attack it. He's just going to let Aweg take it. He's probably not even going to get a full load, so it's not really worth it. Yeah, you can see the harvester's going to come back with about 60% of a tank. We do see these Seekers are now pushing it across the map, so probably going to look to put some pressure on Lamas early here. They are moving to the expansion where there is currently nothing. Lamas hasn't actually dropped a refinery yet. You can see Aweg already has his expansion refinery up. That Seeker Tank's actually reverse moving into the Seeker Tanks. That's not good. A few of those Seeker shells were able to hit the rear armor of that Scorpion Tank. Refinery now comes down for Lamas, but it is quite delayed compared to the refinery from Aweg on the right-hand side of the map. Hand of Nod comes down. The barracks will be producing rocket squads, you would imagine, to try and hold this off. Maybe actually going for the laser turrets. Yeah, you can see he's actually going for a laser turret. Now, of course, I'm not sure if these guys run R18 or R16, but in R16 they have been nerfed again, laser turrets, so they're not going to be as abusive on the defense as they have been in the last year and a bit, ever since that since they have been introduced. Although they got buffed in R16. It's not, I mean, they pretty much were introduced into the game because of R16, because no one used them before that. But now they have been nerfed in R18. I'm pretty sure this series was played before R18 came out, so I think we can say it's safe to assume that these guys are on R16. I really should know that because I can literally see the map name before I click on the replay. But I try to look at as little information on the screen as possible when I'm about to go into the game, so I have no idea who's going to win the games when I go into them. Which makes it a lot more raw to cast when you know well, you don't know what's going to happen. But obviously I'm sort of just rambling on a bit because there's absolutely nothing happening in this game. I mean, Aweg has gone for a fast tech here, probably looking to go Mechapeds, I would imagine. Another harvester comes out. And Lamas going for double war factory, but I mean, I'm not too surprised the game's sort of gone like this. It's sort of how this map plays, is that you just sort of dance around for a little bit with your tier 1 units until you start spamming your tier 3. And that's why I think most players avoid this map nowadays, because it just sort of, it doesn't ever have any variety on it. But this could be an issue for Lamas. He's getting pulled out of position, but I think he knows this army's here. He has dropped a laser turret and has a couple of Scorpion tanks there as well. these Raider buggies are actually picking off these Seeker tanks, because there's just so many Raider buggies. And of course, Seeker tanks, I think they did get a small buff in R15 or R16 versus gun damage, but of course it's still not enough when there's that many buggies. And as we can see, Aweg's actually going for a hexapod here, so it's going to be fast hex from Aweg. But I'm not sure if that's going to be great versus what Lamas is doing, because there's going to be so much mobility in Lamas' army. He's going for this Scorpion buggy play, and that hexapod could find itself out of position quite regularly, and probably on the defense for a lot of this early to mid game portion. Laser capacitors is on the way from Lamas, so it looks like this is a build he had in mind, is to go for these Scorpion tanks and buggies and get laser capacitors, which is it's not a bad idea on this map. You can see a lot of disintegrators in here, but there's so many Raider buggies. The disintegrators are just going to get absolutely chewed up. These Scorpion tanks are moving in to get on top of that harvester. They will get the harvester. No dozer blades yet for Lamas, so he isn't able to really crush these disintegrators. And we can see a tripod comes out and a storm column, but Lamas is just going to stay here and overwhelm this tripod. He's not even phased by that tripod being there. He still has to kill this harvester, and he has to make sure that husk dies. And he does come back, kills off the husk. And you can say that was a pretty successful attack for Lamas. He didn't lose a hell of a lot, killed a hell of a lot of disintegrators, killed a tripod, killed 2 harvesters. And this buggy has been left behind and he's starting to die. The Scorpion tank actually attacking the war factory here. The hexapod is out. We did hear that come out. But there's still no second ref down here for Aweg. And he's actually sold his portal off, which is an interesting choice, because you'd think he'd want that to get a prodigy out. He wants that portal back ASAP, I would imagine. Redeemer on the way for Lamas. And Scorpion tanks and buggies are going to retreat on the north side. Now, he could kill this tip spike while he's here, and yeah, he does. He's going to pick off that tip spike, and laser capacitors is done now, so Lamas' army just got a hell of a lot more powerful. And again, the game sort of settling now. There was that mini engagement, but again, it's so hard on this map to really go after your opponent, because all of the bases are so close together. You can defend, like, this is the difference. Like, you think, oh, well, what's different between this map and Tiberium Rift? Tiberium Rift, you sort of have to move away from your main base. Like, your starting base is down here and your third field's up here, or up here, right? But on this map, all of your tib fields are just smack bang on top of each other, so you can just easily move your army around to defend. But we have seen that Lamas has found an entrance here with these Scorpion tanks. Prodigy is here somewhere. Where is the Prodigy? I don't even see. Oh, there it is. Big EMP from Lamas comes down. The Prodigy is going to get overwhelmed now by these Raider buggies. You would imagine it's going to get sniped down. Obviously, the laser buggies actually do less damage to infantry once laser capacitors comes online, but they do still have enough DPS to focus down that Prodigy. Needs to get another EMP on this hexapod. I mentioned phase field will come down. Phase field does come down. That tripod, though, does get locked down. And we did hear that the Redeemer is out for Lamas. He is going to retreat from this fight. Honestly, didn't actually achieve a hell of a lot. And lost quite a lot of his army. He didn't kill many harvesters. He did knock off the Prodigy, which is nice. But he is limited on the harvesters, though, isn't he? He only has 6 on the field. He is now making a move for his third field, but we can see Lamas has moved up to double refinery over here. And he's now spamming out Scorpion tanks and Raider buggies again to support his Redeemer, which you can see is cloaked there. That Redeemer is cloaked. Now, the issue for Aweg now is that he's got this tripod army out, but he's probably going to get outmaneuvered by this Scorpion tank force that Lamas has. Scorpion tank is going to move into the north side of the map and pick off this warp sphere. Is there any response coming? The tripods are making a move to the north of the map, but he's going to lose that warp chasm, the warp sphere. Going to lose a couple of power plants. Prodigy's going to come in, and we'll get a really good snipe here, because there's absolutely there's one buggy in this entire arc, or there's 2. Oh, he only gets 1 tank with the area mind control. A bit of a whiff there for Aweg. Redeemer is coming in across the map. He is stealthed, and there is no stealth detection here, as long as he doesn't walk too close to that photon cannon, which I imagine he's way out of the range. Doesn't matter now, because he is low power. What's he going to do with this? What's his plan here? Oh, he's actually started shooting, so now Aweg knows it's here. Rage generator does come off, but of course it's not really going to affect too much. Well, the tripods are actually starting to focus down these corruptors. 2 corruptors do fall, and a catalyst comes in, cleans up a ref. He actually could have tried to move that catalyst over a little bit and actually hit the corruptors as well, because catalyst missile does one-shot corruptors. And the Scorpion buggy army of the north starting to push in again, so Lamas actually doing a really good job. And just taking advantage of the slowness of Aweg's army. I mean, he's only got tripods and a hexapod, and he's really struggling to keep his army together. Here we can see a Seeker tank has come out to detect the stealth of that Redeemer. And Lamas, in the meantime, looks like he's just going to keep producing this Scorp spam. No, he's actually transitioning into avatars. There we go. And the Scorp buggy army in the north just sort of hanging out. A few Venoms are out. Did he just come in and snipe the Prodigy? Yeah, the Prodigy, you can see, has died there. Aweg has set up an expansion field now, though, and the Hexapod is out in the middle. He doesn't really want to send the Hexapod out on its own, though, because if this army comes towards his Hexapod, there's no way it survives. There's too much EMP in that army. And that refinery coming down is very important, but I mean, if Lamas had seen that, he probably would have clicked that refinery instead. Rage Gen does come off on the Hexapod. The Mine Drop is smack bang on top of it as well. Venoms are coming in, going to focus down that Seeker tank, and the Scorpion tank buggy army is making a move onto this Hexapod. Where are the tripods? They need to come out and help their Hexapod, because otherwise it's going to get emped. There, all the emp does. No, it doesn't come down. Okay, so there was no exploiting there. The emp actually didn't hit the Hexapod. And it does retreat. Now, this is a big risk versus Traveller 59 going into these avatars, because, of course, the Prodigy and even Cultists can be so dangerous versus Tier 3 units, which is why you normally see Nod players spam out that Scorp buggy combination. But it's just powerful versus Grins in general, and, of course, cannot really... I mean, yeah, you can take 3 or 4 Scorpion tanks here and there with the Prodigy, but it's not as crippling as losing 3 avatars. Like, if the Prodigy walked up here right now, he could grab 3 avatars, teleport them back to base, force fire them down with the tripods and capture them all, and then he would own them properly, rather than just for a short time under the area mind control, which is a play a lot of Traveller players love to do. Prodigy does come in, looking for the teleport of the tripod onto the Redeemer, and he does get the teleport on. So the Redeemer is now locked down with EMP. There are avatars here, though, and they could actually turn their attention north to try and help their Redeemer, but the Redeemer is being forgotten about. There are 3 avatars on the left-hand side moving in, and on the right-hand side, the Scorpion tanks and Raider buggies are starting to pick apart Aweg's base. This Redeemer, I think, is going to fall, but the avatars are starting to surround the tripods on all fronts. The Hexapod is going to come and support now, but all of the tripods are going to fall for the cost of this Hexapod. He does get the Hexapod just before all tripods fall, and the Venoms are now... Oh, they're getting shot down by that Shard AA, but in the back of the base, the Raider buggies and Scorpion tanks are picking apart Aweg's base. And I think you'll see Lamas will bring his Raider buggies over to empty this Hexapod, and I think that would pretty much be the end of the game. These Venoms are actually flying way too close to this Shard AA, and you can see they're all going to splash and die there, but this Hexapod is absolutely dead, and after that I think Aweg will be defeated. There he goes. And Lamas takes a 1-0 lead in the series. Well played to Lamas. You saw it. I think he had a very strict plan. That was going to be how he was going to play it. And it is his home series, which means that, of course, he had complete choice of the maps. So he obviously chose this map and came in with a plan to go for that double war factory laser spam into a Redeemer. And Aweg, yeah, I mean, he went for that fast Hexapod, but the Hexapod never really achieved anything. And that was his downfall there. Aweg loses the match. Well, Lamas takes a 1-0 lead. We'll move to game number 2. Welcome to the map, Tournament Dust Bowl, no poker. And sliding into the north of the map as the blue Traveller 59, picking a random colour, making it difficult for me with the scoreboard. But that's alright, it is Aweg again. And in the bottom of the map, Tournament Dust Bowl, no poker edition. It is Lamas. He stick with the same colour, but has switched up his faction. He is now Blackhand in this game on Dust Bowl. So this will be a different matchup. Personally, I think Aweg would be happy to see this. I think you'd rather come up against Blackhand as Traveller than Nod, because Lasers is just so potent versus Traveller 59 because there's no dev tanks, which means that Scorp Spam just seems a hell of a lot more powerful in the mid game. Because you don't have to worry about dev tanks, which means that you naturally build more Scorpion tanks, and when you naturally build more Scorpion tanks, you're more likely to get laser capacitors. But you don't really see that as much versus the Skrins, but when he's Blackhand, obviously there's the stronger infantry, stronger flame tanks, but no stealth and no laser capacitors. So it's a trade-off. Personally, as the Traveller player, I would be way more happy to see my opponent picking Blackhand. So let's see if Aweg can take advantage of that. Also no Venoms, which is really good for your Prodigy. That's a really big one. No Venoms to deal with your Prodigy. And I feel like Mechapeds also become much more potent versus Blackhand because there's no stealth tank. So there's all sorts of different things there. Of course, Blackhand's infantry is second to none. In fact, it's quite funny though, the only infantry in the game that defeats Blackhand's infantry is Nod's, but it is pretty well accepted that Blackhand infantry is the more potent of the two. Surprised to see no rush. I thought maybe if he was going to pick Blackhand, maybe we would see a rush from Lamas, but no, he's just going to go for an eco build here and move to his expansion. Gunwalker Scout from Aweg coming in to just have a look, and he'll be happy to see that there's nothing on the way, but we do see he's actually going to be the aggressor. It looks like he's got a couple of Seekers out with this Gunwalker. And Lamas, actually just got his 4th Harvester out. So Aweg's managed to pump out 3 Seeker tanks and 4 Harvesters in the time it's taken Lamas to get to his 4th Harvester. That's really interesting. I'm not sure if Lamas stalled somewhere or what he's done, but we can see the barracks come down. He's going to go straight for those laser turrets. So this is the thing that players won't be able to do when it comes to R18, is that the laser turrets, sure, they'll still be good at defense, they'll still be quite potent, but they will not be as overpowered. It's safe to say they are overpowered as they currently stand in R16. They do way too much damage, and they even dwarf the photon cannon in DPS. They are ridiculously overbuffed in R16, and it's good to see that they have been nerfed in the new R18 patch. But of course, we are on R16 here, so the laser turrets for Lamas will get the job done, especially versus Seeker tanks that have quite low armor. But we see a laser turret drop. Yeah, there we go. So the laser turret does drop down, and you can just see how quickly they shoot. It's a bit ridiculous, really. But when you compare it to what it used to be, it was a good buff for the time being, seeing them be useful. But then it got to a point where it was actually a little too OP. And players were abusing the laser turret. And now hopefully that meta will change and we'll see more aggression in nod mirrors, because that was the issue with nod mirrors in this current meta, is that they were being a little bit overwhelmed by eco builds because laser turrets were just so potent. Now we do see another laser turret comes down, but we do see repair drones from Aweg, so he's looking to try and push in here. I think he's placed these a little too prematurely, because it gave Lamas the heads up that he's going to move in here with these Seeker tanks. He's actually focusing down the segments instead of going for the hub straight away. Interesting choice. But here we go, this engagement is going to break. Another laser turret comes down. But so the good thing for Aweg here is he is forcing out these turrets, which aren't actually going to achieve anything in the mid to late game, but he should be retreating from this. I'm not sure why he decided to continue to move in there. That was a bit of a silly thing to do. Seeker tanks are going to turn around. And I mean, he lost probably, what, 5 or 6 tanks there and really achieved nothing. I mean, he's forced out these laser turrets, but again, he gets Cabals from them back, and he's now going for infantry. So those Cabals are just going to join up. Oh my god, he's got a lot of Cabals over here. Are just going to join up with the rest of the army. And start to make a... well, does he even need them? I mean, he's pushing them out on the right. Maybe he's going to go use them to take out the tip spike. Not a bad idea. Attack Center does come down for Aweg, so is he going to go for that fast Hexapod build? I hope he doesn't go for the fast Hexapod build again, because I don't think it's actually that good. At this level of play in particular, I feel like Lamas is good enough to just get those Emp Buggies out, get a Redeemer out, and just make the fast Hex pretty much worthless. But I wouldn't mind seeing a fast Prodigy. I think a fast Prodigy versus Blackhand is a very viable strategy. Now the issue for Aweg, he's got next to no anti-infantry here, and the infantry's on the way. Like, there is quite a large amount of infantry moving across the map. It looks like he's going for Devastator warships and getting Traveller engines as well. These Seeker tanks are holding off the Scorpion tanks. A tripod comes out, so that'll be the end of this Scorpion tank attack. Maybe going to pick off a Harvester before he goes away, but no, he doesn't quite get that Harvester, and will be forced to retreat. The infantry now coming in. A big Devastator warship hit there. So that's a nice win early with that Devastator warship, and another one comes in. And Devastator warships, they're just so devastating versus infantry that when they clump up like this, and you can see they're killing like 6, 7, 8 Cabals at the same time here. Really needs some Mantis, I think. Does Lamas needs to get some Mantis over here. The Scorpion tanks on the right hand side starting to pick off that that's Tiberium spike. And the Devastator warships will push back this infantry for now, but I imagine there should be some Mantis on the way. There we go, there is a Mantis on the way. And yeah, that's what makes it hard for the Devastator warships. You need to have tripods on the ground with these Devastator warships and Gunwalkers. You sort of need the mixture of all 3 units. You need Gunwalkers, Devs, and tripods, because the tripods will deal with the Mantis, the Gunwalkers meat shield for the tripods, and the Devastator warships are the high super DPS unit that you need versus the infantry, especially against Blackhand's infantry. Lightning Spike comes down, probably just trying to look and scout, but I mean, you've got these Disintegrators here. You could have used these instead, or even sold off this Photon Cannon and sent the Buzzer forward. But there is, you can actually see he's got Purifying Flame. Lamas has Purifying Flame. Yeah, here we go, and there's flame tanks coming out. So this could be really deadly. If one of those flame tanks gets into... they get into here or here, you know, that's going to be a big issue. These scorpion tanks engaging the tripod against the war factory, not ideal. Mantis are coming in and actually having a snipe at the drone ship here. Seeker tanks are going to try and move in to deal with these Mantis, but the Mantis are getting a lot of shots on them. These devastated warships are starting to fall quite badly here. Buzzer Swarm comes in, but he's immediately cleaned up by the Purifying Flame. And on the right-hand flank, we can see that tripod did go down, but those tripods that have just come out of the war factory will push that back. But this, look at the drone ship just fall. The armor on the drone ship just evaporates under the weight of that Purifying Flame on the infantry. The devastated warships now starting to pick off what remains of this infantry. There's a blue flame tank here. Oh my god, did the Seeker tanks have enough DPS to respond to this before this refinery goes down? He's going to start shooting at the refinery. He does stop it. Oh my god, but look at that. It's already below half health already. These Scorpion tanks in the north actually getting completely cleaned up here. Being forgotten about by Lamas. More flame tanks are on the way, though. If these Seeker tanks fall, there's actually a really big issue here, that he may not be able to defend extra flame tanks coming in. He does have these tripods here, but he needs to sort of spread them out to deal with these flame tanks. Now, of course, Aweg isn't out of the game with his build. He still does have an airfield, so he can rebuild his drone ship. Now, if we have a look at Lamas, has he gone for a click plant? No, he hasn't. He's actually just gone and expanded to his third field, so he has a refinery on that right-hand side, third field. So he's in, you'd have to say he's probably in a very powerful position, but he does, oh no, he does have tech. There you go. So he does have tech. He just hasn't gone for any tier 3 units yet. So a bit of an odd choice. He's got tier 3. He's got charged particle beam. I should have known that he had tier 3 because he did have charged particle beam in that engagement. But oh no, this is a big issue for Aweg. He's moving his drone ship and he hasn't scouted. There's a bunch of infantry here. He's going to lose another drone ship. There's no way he can save this now. Oh, and he's going to lose it in the air as well. Terrible by Aweg. That's a really bad loss there. And the Devastator warships are going to move in. I mean, they're going to rip the infantry apart. There are Mantis coming in now, but the Devastator warships are running to the safety of the Seeker tanks and tripods. Oh, but the dev ship... Oh, there's another drone ship. Oh my god, he's not going to lose another one to the Mantis now, is he? No, he's not. He's going to push that back with the photon cannon. And the Seeker tanks. The Mantis are going to die in that corner of the map. But there is another Mantis coming in. The Devastator warships are caught completely out of position here. And the tripods need to go back and defend. He actually... Oh, no, he does lose a Mantis. I mean, he does lose a Devastator warship. I thought he was going to get away with both of them on red health. But not quite. Now, where are there are blue flame tanks around on the map. We just don't know where they are. And when they strike, it's going to be massively devastating. Now, where have they gone? I cannot find them. Maybe they were destroyed at some point. There are a lot of Mantis on the map. He could just get Tip Core. I mean, that's another way to deal with the... Once you get Tip Core on Mantis, they have such high DPS. Because this army from Aweg is actually quite large, and Lamas at the moment has, other than some infantry, really doesn't have too much to stand up against that. He's got so many Mantis. He's built 6 Mantis. And he doesn't even have Tip Core. Mantis are going to come in. They're definitely going to get that dev ship. Yeah, with the defense of the buildings here, the tripods aren't going to be able to defend the dev warship. Drone ship finally making it to the third field. Scorpion tank has chased this harvester all the way back to base, which was mining Tiberium over here. And he's finally been able to establish himself at this third field. But Lamas is just going to go back into this mass man spam. Now, are we going to see a Redeemer facility? I think that's the final piece of the puzzle here for Lamas. He needs to get a Redeemer. And then the Mantis infantry combination will just be that a hell of a lot more potent with a big meat shield there for it. And look at this, 7 Mantis. Have you ever seen so many Mantis before? Currently, there's actually nothing for them to shoot at. There's no Devastator warships on the map, which is a really big issue because there's this big infantry cluster moving across. And you can see he's actually coming back for these blue flame tanks. But yeah, this is a big issue because there's actually nothing here. Like, there's only... Oh, there's a dev warship, but yeah, he's had to retreat. The drone ship has to retreat. I don't think it can outrun infantry, though. No, it's not going to outrun the infantry, and the Mantis are probably going to come in soon, and he's going to lose his third drone ship of the game. The Mantis are coming in. They're going to chase down this Devastator warship, and that Devastator warship falls, and he's going to probably be able to go for the drone platform. Can he get the drone platform? No, he can't, and it will be defended, but Aweg is running out of money, and sells off the warp sphere. And maybe he's just going to sort of camp out Aweg's third field here, Lamas, and just starve him out. Redeemer facility is finally down. But Aweg, he's decided he's going to go across the map and he's going to attack the third base. Oh my god, a blue flame tank is in. Oh, it doesn't quite get all the way into the base, unfortunately, for Aweg. It looks like he's going to make a move to the right-hand side of the map here. He does deploy his drone ship. Oh, I don't know about that, because the infantry forces are moving in. There are Corruptors here, but Corruptors really aren't the best counter to infantry in the world. He could go for a phase crush with these Corruptors, maybe. Could be an idea. The Devastator warship is now out. He needs to building block this drone platform before it goes down, because these infantry forces... I think there's too much here for Aweg. I don't think he'll be able to hold this. Big Devastator warship hits, but all of the Corruptors are already dead, and the Tripods are left to fight on their own against this infantry. And 2 blue flame tanks come in the back of the base of Aweg from Lamas, and I think this is going to be the end of the game. The blue, look at them, they just melt buildings. They're just completely gone. And 1 blue flame tank is still here. He's going to lose the drone platform, and he's going to lose the rest of his base. This blue flame tank is going to end the game on its own. He's going to run out of buildings here, Aweg. And the Redeemer is out. I don't think it matters, even if he does manage to hold onto his power plant. I don't think it matters. He's only got these tripods left, and the Devastator warships have all been cleaned up. And all that Aweg has left is this power plant. And that is it. Aweg does go down, and Lamas takes a 2-0 lead in the series with it was a very nice blackhand play, wasn't it? Just that infantry and flame tanks. So finally got those blue flame tanks in at the end of the game. I think it was over anyway by that point, but it's always fun to see a blue flame tank just run riot on a base. But that will be the end of game number 2. Aweg down 0-2 in the series now. Lamas will be feeling really confident heading into the game number 3, and we'll head into that right now. Welcome to game number 3 of the series, and sliding down to the bottom left-hand corner of the map, Extraction Plateau. He is 2-0 up in the series. He's not vanilla. It's Lamas. And of course, in the top right-hand corner of the map, he's gone with Traveller 59 yet again. And it is Aweg, and he will be looking to get a point on the board, because if he goes 3-0 down in the series, it becomes very difficult to win the series. Now, of course, we have seen a player come down from 3-0 to win the series already at this tournament, which I have casted. So if you are looking for another video to find, have a little look around. There is a video on my channel of someone coming from 3-0 down to win the series, but of course you never want to be in that situation, so Aweg will be desperate to win this game and get his point on the board, because he doesn't want to go 3-0 down, because it just becomes very difficult from there to come back. And he's been in both of these games. You could say he hasn't exactly been absolutely embarrassed. Maybe in the first game he was never really in that game because of the build order he went for, but that last game, maybe if he didn't lose 3 drone ships, maybe he was in that game. Because if he had established a 3rd field, he would have had the money to maybe defend that infantry spam a little bit more fluently. But here we are in game number 3. Again, no aggression from the Nod player. So Lamas, very happy to play his Nod and Blackhand, but just eco. Not looking to be aggressive early in the game. And again, no disintegrators from our Traveller player. This map isn't really good for disintegrators anyway. There's only 3 entrance points to a base which has a Tiberium field in the corner. It's really hard to make disintegrators work on this map. Same with bike rushes. You very rarely see players go for bike rushes on this map. It's just not ideal because of how defensively positioned this Tiberium field is. Gunwalker picking off a militant there. Raider Buggy will come in and see Aweg's base and go, alright, nothing to see here. Nothing of any real worry for Lamas. Drone ship here, looking to actually try and crush those militants. Yeah, he does. You actually see Aweg move that drone ship deliberately on top of those militants to try and crush them. Obviously here on a bad rally point, but that's okay. He will get that straight back to work, so good by Aweg there. Noticing his mistake straight away to fix it. And we'll move to... Well, we're going to move to the mid-game, but... Again, it's just going to be an eco game. I'm really surprised as a Nod player versus Traveller 59 that Lamas is being so defensive, because it always feels like late game you want to be ahead somehow by early aggression. It's not nice going late game versus Traveller as Nods. So we will see here. Raider Buggy comes out. Now, are we going to see a second war factory, or is it going to be a 3rd or a 4th ref? I think that is going to be a second war factory. I think that's too fast to be a ref. Yeah, so second war factory does come down from Lamas, so it's probably going to be a similar type build as what he did last game. Early Scorpion tanks, or even game 1, I should say. Scorpion tanks into that laser capacitors. So Scorpion tanks are on the way for Lamas. And second ref does come down. So Aweg is going for tier 2 here, and there is his tier 3. So tier 3 is down, and we're going to see shard launches again. He's done this in every game so far. He's gone for Seeker tanks, and he's gone for shard launches early. But, I mean, it always makes me wonder if he should be playing Scrin, because he's sort of playing this like Scrin. I mean, other than using the Prodigy in game number 1, he really hasn't used Traveler's specialties at all. He hasn't used Fast Legs, he hasn't used Traveler engines, he hasn't been using Cultists, you know. So he's basically been playing a nerfed Scrin vanilla here, because he could be getting shields for these Seeker tanks, and when you get shields on your Seeker tanks plus shard launchers, they're actually very competitive with laser capacitor Seeker tanks. Laser capacitor Scorpion tanks, I should say. Dozer Blades is coming down, and shard launchers is on the way. Second War Factory comes down as well, so he's going for tripods now. Interesting. So he's got up to tier 3, started to get shard launchers, and actually transitioning into tripods. So it's an interesting build by Aweg. He does still, of course, have the Seeker tank presence on the map, which is always good. And the Seeker tanks can just they keep the Nod player on their toes, because if Seeker tanks get into your harvester line, especially when they have shard launchers, they can kill three or four harvesters before you even realize what's going on. Now we can see that Lamas has actually gone for a third War Factory, so no tier 3 this time. He's gone 3 War Factory Scorpion tanks. Dozer Blades is almost done, 75% of the way done. And shard launchers is done as well. So no laser capacitors this time. Flame tank is coming out, so Lamas is going to look to be aggressive again this game with those flame tanks, which is always good. I mean, there's no reason, especially versus a Scrin, to not use flame tanks like this. Just send them in all different directions. You only need to build 3 or 4 at a time, and it's only 4 grand, 5 grand, and it could give you 20 grand worth of damage. Now, these Scorpion tanks are going to try and engage into these tripods. I'm not sure this is the greatest idea in the world, but he does have so many numbers that he is just going to straight overwhelm them here. And Lamas, he may be on the way to a quick 3-0 here. The drone ship is going to lift off and start to retreat. There are more tripods on the defense here. This flame tank has got in. The Seeker tanks are there. They're not going to respond in time, though. And Lamas, he's crushing the husks. It would be nice if he could actually get these himself. Temporal Wormhole was also wasted here. Another flame tank comes in, does finish off that power plant. And Lamas, again, just not letting Aweg get to that third Tiberium field, just like last game. Just brutally stopping him in his path as soon as Aweg makes a move to that third field. But you can see Aweg still has quite a large army here, and this army is not beating this one. And that's why the Seeker tanks are so important, because it gives the Scorpion tanks so many more options to shoot at. And the Seeker tanks, for their cost and their armor, actually have a lot of DPS, which means that you're stuck with these Scorpion tanks going, do I kill the Seekers first or do I kill the tripods first? And either way, you sort of lose out. We can actually see there is an elite. Is there any more ranked up units in there? There's a few veteran, and there is an elite Scorpion tank. It is amazing how often you see that in armies, that one Scorpion tank seems to get the final kill on so many units. And ranks up to heroic while nothing else ranks up at all. And again, he's tried to make a move for this third field, but has to retreat. And this is the issue with this Traveler army, is it's so slow, is that Lamas is just sort of running him around in a circle over and over again. And these tripods are just never really in the right position. A few Scorpion tanks here taking the poor rally point around that crevice in the map. But the tripod and Seeker tank force is now starting to actually group up. And look, I mean, I would think that this army is more than enough to overwhelm what's here from Lamas, as long as laser capacitors isn't there yet, which laser capacitors is now getting upgraded. So Aweg, he wouldn't know that, but he really needs to make a move, because he doesn't want to wait until Lamas gets laser capacitors for the big engagement to begin. He's finally secured his third Tiberium field, and he's going to go for a big push on the south. So an interesting choice here by Aweg to move. So what's like we're going to see a base trade situation. All of Lamas's forces are moving to the top side of the map. They're actually splitting up all over the place here, though, and this is actually really bad by Lamas. His armies are sort of splitting up, and these 3 tripods, although not a lot on the defense, they're only fighting half the army at once here, while Aweg is moving in with this massive force. Avatars are being built here, but I'm not sure if they're going to be enough. You can see these tripods are starting to thin out the herd of Scorpion tanks that are in the base already. Aweg actually picks up his drone ship, so I think he's going to go and send that with the rest of his army. Wouldn't have minded seeing him deploy a portal first and healing that up with an engineer. But again, he's going to move in with this force of Seeker tanks and tripods. The tripods on the defense have been destroyed, but there's not a lot of Scorpion tanks left here, and he's got to clean up all of this and then find enough time to come back and kill this drone ship, which is now starting to move across the map with his forces. And there's, what, seven tripods here and a handful of Seeker tanks. There's 4 avatars here. Laser Capacitors is almost done, but isn't quite able to finish. Because he doesn't have power for it. He desperately needs to get some power plants down, because if he can get laser capacitors done, these Scorpion tanks become so much more potent. Lightning Spike comes down, laser capacitors done. Laser capacitors has completed. There are 4 avatars here. Now, the problem is that Lamas is split up, but the Raider buggies have found the drone ship. The drone ship has been found, and they are starting to shoot down the drone ship here. He's got 2 more Raider buggies here. He does go, he phases a tripod on the right hand side. He's going to try and crush move on those Scorpion tanks. A really good play there, and I think Lamas is going to run out of buildings here. All of the harvesters have come across the map too to draw some fire, but I don't think it matters. I think Lamas is going to lose everything. An Emissary comes out. He's going to try and make a run for it, but the Emissary's heading straight into the tripods. Oh no, the Emissary. Oh my god, he does turn around. Okay, all good. He was going to run straight to the tripods, and it would have been disastrous. Drone ship there has barely survived, and the Scorpion tanks are now on the run from this tripod force. There are a bunch of husks here. How much money does Aweg have? Because if he can get a... oh my god, he has heaps. The tripods are starting to fight this Scorpion tank army, and this tripod is drawing so much fire and getting some crushes off. Infantry being built by Lamas at this top field, and the Scorpion tanks are going to get pushed back. The Scorpion tanks really have no way to fight against this force, but there are tripods out. But he still has a tier 2, and the Buzzer Swarm comes in, and there's nothing to deal with these buzzers. The buzzers are going to rip through the rocket squads. We can see there's a heroic buzzer already there. And the tripods now, I think, are going to be able to sweep this up. Avatar does get claimed by Aweg. Okay, so they're getting claimed by Aweg, and he has used the engineer to repair the drone ship, and he does win the game. Wow, there you go. And yeah, I mean, Lamas, he was probably in a pretty good position, but the way he went about that late game situation there, he's just sort of suicided a bunch of tanks with his army splitting up at that north top right base. But Aweg, he finally gets himself on the board. He desperately needed that. And hopefully that can fill him with confidence to come on and fight back his way in front maybe, and even win the series from here. But Lamas goes down. Aweg takes the win. And it is now 2-1 to Lamas. We'll move to game number 4. Welcome back to Tiberium Rift. We have a game number 4 of the series between Aweg and Lamas. And this morning in the top left-hand corner, as Traveller 59 yet again, it is Aweg here. And sliding to the bottom right corner of the map, he has just lost his first game of the series, so he'll be looking to bounce back from that. It is Lamas playing as the green Nod Vanilla. And we can see a lot of militants coming out here, so maybe expecting disintegrators on this map, but of course, Aweg again not going for any, or maybe he wants this to anti-scout, possibly going for a rush, or he just wants to kill any buzzers that he sees. Could be as simple as that. I'm hoping to see a rush from Lamas though in this game. I mean, he's played 3 games as Nod or Blackhand and hasn't gone for a rush yet, so Aweg may not even expect him to rush. So it could be a really good opportunity to do a rush. That buzzer is just destroyed in time. And yeah, I'd like to see a rush from Lamas here, even if it's just a single flame tank. Because it could just win him the game, like instantly. And if that happens, if Aweg doesn't scout, which I imagine he's probably going to go for a Seeker scout or a gun. Well, he's not. He's going for a Harvester. Are we going to see a rush from Lamas? No, again, no rush. Raider buggy comes out, no Operations Center, so it's just going to be another eco game from these players. I think Lamas is missing a trick here. I think it would be really nice to see a flame rush, because Aweg, I mean, he wouldn't be expecting it. He's only gone for 1 buzzer. He doesn't know that. Well, he probably knows that now because he's probably got full eyes on the map. I mean, look at this. This is awesome by Lamas, this scouting. Obviously, he's probably looking for disintegrators. That's probably what he's expecting. I mean, he's gone for this many militants and gone for a Raider buggy. I mean, it's a bit overkill on the scouting side. If he's just done that to scout, He's just starting to scout. It's a bit of an overkill, really. Seeker tank now comes out. I mean, yeah, again, I think Lamas, I mean, I'm going to keep harping on about it, but I think he's missed a massive trick here, because Aweg didn't scout him at all. There could be 3 flame tankers coming into Aweg's base right now, and he would have no idea. Instead, he's going to just be stuck in this eco game, and he's almost over-invested on scouting. And, I mean, Aweg's going to take this blue Tiberium, and there's pretty much no way that Lamas can stop him. And there's 3 Seeker tanks on the map now, 4 Seeker tanks, and a 5th coming as well. And that's going to turn into a Seeker push. And I just feel like this early game from Lamas has been really poor. Maybe he expected descents, but again, there's been no descents all series from Aweg. And I don't think that's going to change, because especially when you're playing versus Nod, Disintegrators historically aren't that great versus Nod early game because of the Shredder turret having the splash damage ability. So if your Disintegrators do clump up, your your Disintegrators do die rather quickly. And of course the Raider Buggy and the threat of a Flame Rush. If the Nod player Flame Rushes you, your Disintegrators are as good as dead. Pretty much useless. We do see a second War Factory has come down from Lamas, and that barracks at the back of the base. It just looks so odd seeing it all the way back here, but it's because he doesn't want infantry. He just wants the laser turrets down. 2 and 5 on this field for Lamas, and we can see that Aweg has just placed a refinery down on the left-hand side and has 6 harvesters on his main. One of them was at the Blue Tiberium, so that's a forgivable to oversaturate this field, because he actually isn't, because one of those harvesters was at the Blue Tib. So Seeker tanks are getting pushed back by the Scorpion tanks. I mean, he could probably go for an engagement, but I think he knows there's no economy here for Lamas, so there's no point pushing, because you're not going to gain anything from it. You're going to kill Scorpion tanks, you're not going to kill harvesters, which is what he was looking for from these Seeker tanks, or to do exactly what Lamas has done and force him into a double war factory when he doesn't really want to. Disintegrators are now coming out, as well as a photon cannon, placed a bit prematurely. He probably doesn't need that yet. His Seeker tank, I mean, his harvesters aren't under immediate threat. These Scorpion tanks are never going to break through when there's Disintegrators. And look at that! Places a photon cannon in the middle of the tib field. Wow, there you go. Right in the middle of the tib field. Scorpion tanks are lining up, looking... I mean, he can't really push into this, can he? I mean, look how many Seeker tanks there are from Aweg. And he's just sitting around not doing anything with them. He probably needs to get these guys on the move. Disintegrators are there. There's 3 photon cannons. Jeez, he's really over-defending down here, isn't he? But maybe he doesn't want to use his Seeker tanks to defend. He wants to use his Seeker tanks to attack. He's putting photon cannons up here as well. What is he doing? He's letting Lamas back into the game here. I'm really confused by Aweg's play here. He's gone for... Does he think Lamas is all in? That's the only thing I can think of. Does he think Lamas is all in? I mean, I know he hasn't scouted him very well this game, but he should know that this isn't an all-in, because it would have hit him by now. Icor Seed comes down. He's probably going for his tier 3 again, and I imagine it'll be shard launchers straight away, getting upgraded, yeah. Tier 2's down, Dozer Blades on the way. These Scorpion tanks up here are going to come in, sells off a ref, picks off a power plant. He could overwhelm this with these Seeker tanks here, but maybe he wants to wait until shard launchers are done. Seeker tanks... I mean, I think they do well enough versus Scorpion tanks. I think Scorpion tanks 1-for-1 do win. But the Seeker tanks, I mean, he does have Disintegrators as well. And again, he's not getting fast legs here. So again, he's not... I'm a bit confused on why he's picking Traveller 59 when he's not abusing what Traveller is super good at, which is the mind control, having good infantry, you know, the Prodigy and things like that. And we've barely seen that from Aweg in this series. I mean, he won last game and he basically played Scrin. He won with Seeker tank and tripods. I mean, you can do that as Scrin and Vanilla, and better, because both of those units get shields instead of just nothing. I mean, Seeker tank still get shard launchers even as Traveller 59, but when they get shields as well, those extra 1 or 2 shots is really important. When you have a mass number of them, those extra 1 or 2 shots can turn into an extra 50 shots if you have 25 Seeker tanks. But Lamas here is actually going to move into this. I mean, there's 3 photon cannons. These 3 photon cannons are finally going to pay off here, because Lamas is absolutely suiciding his army in here. I mean, he has achieved absolutely nothing with this other than throwing away half of his army. I mean, yeah. The only thing he really achieved in that fight was attempting to lose the game. Laser capacitors is on the way from Lamas. And Master Seeker tank has... again, held the line for Aweg. I mean, he barely lost anything in that fight. He didn't lose a harvester. He lost all the Disintegrators. He only had 4. And Mass Seeker tank still on the map. So, I mean, what did Lamas achieve there? Pretty much nothing. He is now getting the Blue Tiberium with the map control he's earned. But he had map control. He didn't need to attack as well. And still Aweg here with only 1 refinery down. If Lamas had gone for a Catalyst instead of this Redeemer, because a Redeemer here probably isn't that great. I mean, you're versus Mass Seeker spam and you know your opponent's on low eco. I mean, that's just... you just be licking your lips as an odd player, in my opinion, to go for that Chem Plant and Catalyst that ref. And you can get the Redeemer later. And if you Catalyst this, Your opponent's economy isn't going to be able to handle your Redeemer once it does come out. But now Aweg is able to re-establish himself on this field. Shard launches is almost done, so the Sinker Tanks are going to get that big boost. And these Photon Cannons, you cannot forget, get a super amount of extra DPS with the Shard launches upgrade. Redeemer is going to come out on the field, so the Redeemer is out now. But, you know, a bit of an, I don't know, personally wouldn't have been my choice of what I would have gone for. I would have gone for a Catalyst, and I think the Scorpion Tank, if you get Emp Coils, the Scorpion Buggy combo is really good versus Traveler Tripods, because without shields, you can just Emp the Tripods, and that's really devastating when your army is mainly comprised of Tripods, which Aweg is at the moment. I mean, he does have these Seeker Tanks, but again, he's not doing anything with them, which is quite like, why are they just sitting here? Get them out and get some map control with them, try and control the blue tip. If Lamas's army shows up, you just pull back, it's not a big deal. We can see Lamas's army is all the way in the top north of the map. And he's going to start to move in here on this war factory. The Tripods are actually leaving. They don't know what's there, but the Raider Buggy has started to shoot the Warp's Chasm. He will know now. And he does start to turn around. I think he's just going to abandon this base. Yeah, he's just going to abandon that base. And I think that's the best call. There was no way he was going to be able to save it in time. And we can see Lamas has established a refinery on the third field and is now going for a mass infantry transition. Now, where is the Redeemer? Where is the Redeemer? Where's the Redeemer? Bit of an engagement here, but Temporal again. He's been a bit off with his Temporals in this series so far. They really haven't hit their mark yet. Where is the Redeemer? There it is. Oh my god. Ah, that's why I couldn't see it on the minimap, because it's cloaked. And so it sort of fades in and out. You can see it now on the minimap there, but it fades in and out. So it just looks like a Harvester. Because obviously not Harvesters are stealth. M-Coils is done now for Lamas, so that's really good because M-Coils versus Traveler 59, again, the way Aweg is playing, I would like to see him pick Scrin for the rest of the series because his Scrin would be so much more powerful here. Because you have Stasis, number one, which is huge. Temporal's great, but Stasis is a class above any support power in the game pretty much, except for maybe a really good Tib Vein. These Scorpion Tanks, though, really aren't much. There's so many Tripods here. I mean, it just blows my mind that he's not playing Traveler. I mean, that he's not playing Screen Vanilla. Or even Reaper 17. He could play Reaper 17 and play like this. But we do see there is a Prodigy out here. And this Redeemer is... I mean, I tell you what, this Redeemer could go down here because there's not really a hell of a lot of support for it. Tripod comes in, teleported straight on top of that. But the infantry forces from Lamas are on their way. But, what happened there? Oh, there's a Commando! Oh, the Commando quickly gets swept up by those... what are they called? By the Buzzer Swarm. Buzzer Hives are going to try and come down. And he probably could phase one of these Tripods and go for a big crush move. This Redeemer is going to fall. And there is still enough defense here that Lamas can't attack with those Scorpion Tanks. Buzzer Hives are getting built. And there's a lot of buzzers here. And the infantry is going to start to get overwhelmed here. Good power plant blocking. You can see the Redeemer has gone down. But most of the Tripods here have gone down as well. And he is lost again. Lamas just, like every other game in this series, refusing to let Aweg set up a third base. Every time Aweg has made a move to a third Tiberium field in this series, it has been shut down. Even on the Galaxy game, you could say it was shut down because Lamas killed him when the third field came up. That's shutting him down, I would say, when you just straight out win the game. But the infantry forces have been pushed back for now. But now Aweg needs to be able to follow this up. He needs to realize, okay, there's a lot of infantry on the field. I need to find a way to deal with this infantry. Because at the moment, he only has Tripods. Scorpion Tanks in the north, they are just going to sit back for now. I think he knows that that wasn't Aweg's full army over here, which means theoretically it has to be here, which of course is right. So Lamas having some good game sense there to know that, well, if the army isn't here, it must be at the base that I want to attack. But right as I say that, we can see the Scorpion Tanks are actually going to try and move in. He could actually pick off these upgraded power plants. But no, Aweg is actually going to try and move out here. And Lamas will just head back. He doesn't want to poke the bear too much, except these three Scorpion Tanks have been left behind and they will get destroyed. So a bit of a minor loss there for Lamas, but not the end of the world this late in the game. Now we do see the Venoms are out. They're going to be trying to look for the Prodigy to snipe down. Now where is the Prodigy? Did he already snipe it? Maybe he's already sniped it and he's just going around scouting. Unless it's in the Buzzer Hive Swarm there. No, I cannot see a Prodigy. Now, I think we need to see some Devastator warships from Aweg here. Oh, he's actually got no tier 3. Oh my god, the timing on that could have been so terrible. I thought he'd placed that refinery straight into the Catalyst there. And that would have been absolutely crippling. But the click has come down. Tiberium Seed as well. And Aweg, I mean, he really needs to... I don't know, he's sort of in a... I mean, both players seem to just not have very much right now, considering the amount of Tiberium they have under their belt. Now, Aweg has been able to recover. He needs to sell off these buzzer hives. He needs to be... I mean, even these ones, I'm not sure why he built them here, because they're not actually going to really do anything. I mean, they're going to do something, but they're not blocked in by anything. And I mean, Vertigo Bombers, which I know that Lamas is building, could just fly in and bomb them. Obviously, not your ideal Vertigo Bomber target, but I mean, if you can get any free targets with Vertigo Bombers, you want to take them, because two reasons. Vertigo Bombers, they don't take a massively long time to reload. Plus, you really only want to use... Your main big Vertigo Bomb hits are during a big fight, which you're not going to take until your Vertigos are ready to go. And... Oh god, he's going to go for the Harvesters though. He's going to go for the Harvesters. Oh, this is going to be devastating. Oh no, he goes for the one... Oh, if he hit like one of these ones, he could have killed 4. He could have killed 4 Harvesters, but instead he hit a Harvester that was away from the pack. And we can see an MCV here. Is it second MCV? There is a second MCV out now, but it is his main MCV that is on the march across the map. Redeemer moving out with some infantry forces here, and again, I don't think there's enough anti-infantry here for Aweg. And he's got some gunwalkers, and he's got these buzzer hives here, but there is a lot of infantry, and I imagine Lamas is going to go for a hell of a lot more. Although it just doesn't feel like he has as much as he should have, doesn't it? I mean, I feel like there should be so much more on the map. But look, he's mined all this tib. He's been taking the blue tib all game, and this is all he really has to show for it. It's a bit concerning. He does have 4 Vertigo Bombers, though, as well, and that's quite a bit of money, which you can't really see. But they are sitting here waiting for the opportune time to strike into the base. And Lamas is still sitting here with these Scorpion tanks waiting to see if Aweg will move out with the forces that are here. And actually starting to take this Tiberium for himself. The Vertigo Bombers come in. There we go. That's 5 dead Harvesters for Aweg. That is crippling. Another Harvester is going to go down here now. And there's a Harvester up here which is going to go down. Big Tiberium Vein detonation. The Venoms are going to fly. And they're going to try and start the Prodigy. They don't get it. They don't get it. And there is a Devastator Warship here. And a lot of tripods here. But a big Rage Gen is coming. There is no doubt there is going to be a big Rage Gen. Massive area mine control there. That is huge. And the Devastator Warship is actually starting to pick off a lot of these infantry forces. The infantry is actually starting to fall here. And we can see that... oh no, this Prodigy is just walking to its death. The Prodigy is just walking to its death. That's so disappointing. He really needed that. And the Scorpion tanks on the left-hand side are starting to move in. These tripods are retreating. And the Redeemer still stands, which is the big pest in the way of the defense here for Aweg. These tripods are going to defend these Scorpion tanks with no issues on the left-hand side. 2 tripod husks here. Oh no, the Vertigo Bombers are going to fly in. Oh, we might actually lose that Vertigo Bomber though. Oh, not quite. It just survives with a slither of health. And it's probably going to come in and be able to bomb a tripod. He does get a tripod. Double barracks on the front line, and MCV starting to move forward. Big Buzzer Swarm comes in, but of course the flame weapon of the Redeemer does clean that up. And there's nothing here to do with this Redeemer right now. He's going to move back out with these tripods, but his drone ship is under threat. Now he does get another refinery down, but I don't think that's going to last very long. AA battery down right on the front line, and the Rage Gen comes off, and now these tripods can be crushed without the Redeemer having any fear of being EMP'd, and the tripod... Oh, it does get an EMP off just somehow. Obviously, the back cannon could still EMP when a unit is Rage Gen. All that tripod right at the back didn't get affected by the Rage Gen, but Lamas was looking like he's going to clean up and take a 3-1 lead in the series. There is no resistance left for Aweg, and we can see his fire selling out of the game. That last refinery will be gone, and Lamas takes a 3-1 lead in the series. Yeah, I mean, Aweg, he's playing screen, man. It really frustrates me to watch this, because he's not abusing what Traveller is really good at, which is he's not using fast flicks. We haven't seen fast flicks from him once in this series. We've only seen the Prodigy twice, and even when he's built it, he's used it really poorly. And he did get that really nice area mind control that game, but you can see it was all about the resources. Lamas just towered ahead, got all the blue Tiberium, got his third field so much earlier, and pushed Aweg off his first. And then, of course, at the end of the game, after that Vertigo, I bet that's where the Vertigo struck. And after that, it was just all lights out for Aweg. But Lamas takes a 3-1 lead in the series. We'll move to game number 5. All right, welcome to game number 5 of the series. We are on the map Atacama Road, and in the top left corner of the map, as the blue Scrin Vanilla, it is Aweg. So he has decided to make the transition over to Scrin Vanilla, and I think this is a great choice for Aweg, as he has been playing basically Scrin, except without the shields. I mean, he hasn't, like I said, he hasn't been using Traveler's Tools, so he may as well play Scrin Vanilla and then in the bottom right-hand corner as the green black hand is Lamas. He's 3-1 up in the series. He'll be looking to get the next game under his belt so he can claim it, that he cannot lose the series. And that's always good. Once you get to a certain point in the series and you know that you can't lose it, it's a really good feeling because you play with that little bit of extra confidence, you play with that little bit of extra, you play a little less on edge. It can also be a bad thing, though. Some players can think, well, I can't lose a series, and get a little bit complacent and actually end up tying a series. And I feel like we saw that actually with Green Zero. He got a little bit complacent in those last 2 games, played a little bit lazy, and that was why he ended up tying that series versus Master Leaf. Spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't watched that video or you didn't somehow didn't know that Master Leaf and Green Zero tied. I mean, both players have been talking about it in their videos and streams, so, and I have casted it. So if you don't know that yet, well, you do now. Again, no rush from either player. Less expectant of a rush when you see Scrin Vanilla. It's not really, you don't really expect to see Disintegrators from a Scrin Vanilla player. But again, Lamas not going for a rush, and again, Aweg not scouting. I mean, Aweg is leaving himself so wide open to a Flame Rush. And if I was Lamas being 3-1 up in the series, what have you got to lose? I mean, the worst that happens is you go 3-2 in the series, you're still in the lead, you still have the map. I mean, obviously this is Lamas' home series, he has all the map choices, so it's completely in his favour still. And if you get a good Flame Rush off and you win, I mean, that's... You're 4-1 up in the series in the blink of an eye, and Lamas, again, just too passive. It's almost like he's too scared to go for a rush. And even more so when you're versus Scrin Vanilla, there's so much more reason to go for a Flame Rush because you don't have to worry about cultists. Because that could be the one thing that scares players away from Flame Rushing a Travel 59 is that, oh no, my Flame Tanks might get taken and sent back at me. Well, you're versus Scrin Vanilla now, Lamas, and you can go for that, Flame Rush because there's no threat of cultists. I don't want to seem like I'm bashing on Lamas here. He's played very well in this series, but I just feel like he's missing a trick not going for a Flame Rush at some point in the series. I hope we see one from him by the end of the series because Aweg has left himself wide open to it the last 2 games. He hasn't scouted Lamas at all. But I'm really glad to see Aweg has swapped his faction because, again, he's been playing Scrin Vanilla the last 2 games, or all series basically, other than using the Prodigy. He's basically played Scrin Vanilla every game with the units he's used. Even wouldn't have minded him seeing play Reaper 17, but I think he doesn't want to go Reaper 17. I think he still wants the ability to teleport around with the Mastermind. And of course, he has Planetary Assault Carriers and Devastator Warships, which is also really important. Devastator Warships, of course, really good versus Blackhand because of the lack of Venoms and obviously the reliance on their infantry. Seeker Tanks, Gunwalkers making a move down the right-hand side. We can see Scorpion Tanks in the south on the minimap are starting to make a move to the right as well. So both players deciding that the right-hand flank will be the flank of choice for this game. And here we go, the first little engagement of the game. And that Seeker Tank is going to get focused down now. Lamas does have the smaller army, but he does have the better army because there's mainly Scorpion Tanks here. There's too many Gunwalkers here from Aweg to really want to take that fight because obviously Gunwalkers not the greatest in the world versus Scorpion Tanks. There's only a handful of Seeker Tanks here, so he's going to want to retreat. And this is really good. Aweg plays Scrin Vanilla, and he's starting to use Scrin Vanilla's tools straight away. Goes for those Dev Tanks. And obviously Dev Tanks really do change up the way these matchups play because you can still Scorp Spam into Dev Tanks, but Dev Tanks just are that much more potent in this mid game when the numbers are still low on the Scorpion Tanks. These Dev Tanks really do have high DPS, but he does need to charge them up. He really does need to make sure he charges them up because when he gets the charge, I'm not actually sure exactly what the percentage on the damage boost is, but I do know it is quite large. And we do see 3 War Factory Scorpion Tanks, so Lamas doesn't care about the Dev Tanks. He's going to still pursue this mass Scorpion Tank play that we've seen from him throughout the series. Attenuated Force Field's done for Aweg. And this is really interesting that I thought he might go for Scrim because he'd want to get a mass Seeker Spam and also have shields. But in the end, he's actually just gone for Dev Tanks. And I think this is a great play. I think Dev Tanks is a good choice versus what Lamas has done throughout this series, but he needs to be careful that he doesn't get overwhelmed here because there's only 5 Dev Tanks here, and you can see how many Scorpion Tanks are here. Some of them are decoys, but obviously the decoys are really good versus Dev Tanks because they tank a lot of the Tiberium shots, and drain the Dev Tank's charge. Lamas is actually sort of pincering himself in here. You can see there's still 4 Dev Tanks over here, which are hitting these Scorpion Tanks from the rear armor. And there's now Gunwalkers and Seeker Tanks on the right-hand side. And Lamas, that's a really poor engagement by Lamas. He's really achieved nothing here. And now there's a tripod. Comes out, gets a couple of crushes. And these Scorpion Tanks are all going to fall here. And that was a really good engagement for Aweg. Lamas really throwing it away there. And, wow, there you go. A lot of Scorpion Tanks went down for nearly no gain there for Lamas. He's actually already made a move to his 3rd Tiberium field. Is he going to try and... or we can see Flame Tanks are out. I was gonna say, is he going to go for a Refinery, or is it going to be a tier 3? Flame Tank has made a move into the right-hand side of the base here. Oh, it's shooting at the Gunwalker. He needs to change target. Shoot the Refinery, Lamas. Oh, no, he's forgotten about the Flame Tank, and it will not be able to kill that Refinery. Will it get a Gunwalker kill? It gets a Gunwalker kill, so it wasn't completely useless. But unfortunately, forgot about that one, and the Refinery will survive. He's going to be able to clean up both Tiberium spikes with that Flame Tank, so that Flame Tank very much worth it. And we can see that Lamas has gone for a Refinery on this left-hand side Tiberium field. But Aweg here is in serious threat of losing his drone ship. There's Scorpion Tanks, only a handful. Oh, he tried to go out and phase, but he does lose it. Did he get an airfield or a crane down? No, he doesn't have an airfield or a crane, so he is down to 2 War Factory production for the rest of the game. But he does have his tier 3, and he does have a sizable army on the map. I mean, if he can fit in a few more tripods into this army is quite scary, and it's a hell of a lot more scary because there are shields, which means that if Lamas was able to get to tier 3 and get some EMP coils, the EMP coils would be a hell of a lot less effective versus this unit, versus this composition of army, because you would need 2 EMP blasts to be able to EMP a tripod. And by the time you get to EMP blast, you could have lost a lot more of an army than if you only needed to get the 1 down. Now, Lamas is actually going to go for an attack on the left-hand side, realizing that probably Aweg is out of build, and if he's able to turn this into a base race situation, he will be looking really strong. Laser turret does come down now. Laser turrets, while they have been very strong in this meta, I don't think they're strong enough to deal with tripods. The Scorpion Tanks are going to try and push in here, but there's so many Gunwalkers and there's quite a number of tripods here. I don't know if he's going to be able to break through this. But, of course, there is just so many Scorpion Tanks, I think he is going to overwhelm. Eventually, Buzzer Swarm at the back, though, does start to clean up the infantry at the back, but somehow they actually pretty much achieve nothing. Now, there's so many Gunwalkers here, I think they will eventually be able to overwhelm the Scorpion Tanks that are here. But we can see on the left-hand side of the map, Lamas has moved in with an infantry force and is starting to clean up Aweg's base. There's a mass number of Gunwalkers here, ready to defend the base, but I think Lamas is in a really strong position here and could be looking to get a 4th win on the board. These Gunwalkers now moving in, trying to clean up the forces here of Lamas, and he does go for a crush move and does clean up all the infantry on the left-hand side of the map, or on the right-hand side of the map, but all of these husks are still here. He wasn't able to clean up the husks. I mean, he had all those Gunwalkers there for so long, and he just didn't clean up the husks, and I think that will be it. Lamas will probably win this game now. If he didn't get that drone ship sniped, he wouldn't have been forced into that attack, and maybe he would still be in the game. But I think there's just going to be a little bit too much for him to deal with now, and he's actually low power. You can see he's low power. So he is powering down all of his stuff, and yeah, there we go. He's going to sell out of the game, and Aweg, unfortunately, goes 4-1 down in the series. And he finally changed to scrim, but it just wasn't enough. I mean, if that drone ship didn't get sniped, I actually thought he was in quite a good position, but obviously he knew that once the drone ship went down, he was sort of forced to attack. He didn't have a choice. He had to go in and try and win the game then and there, because otherwise Lamas would be able to mine on his 3rd field and would just get too powerful. And Aweg, well, he can still tie the series, so that's the positive for him. He can come back and tie the series. Lamas, 4-1 down. No, 4-1 up, I should say. We'll move to game number 6. Welcome to game number 6 of the series. We are on the map Tournament Badlands in the bottom left, playing as the green black hand. It is Lamas. He is 4-1 up in the series, and we'll be looking to close it out in this match with a win here. And in the top right corner of the map as the blue screen, it is Aweg1. He will be looking to fight his way back and at least salvage a draw from this series. He does need to win 3 games in a row, which does look quite hard at this stage. I'll be very surprised if he can pull this back, but we have seen a series go that way already when a player was 3-0 down. So who knows, maybe we can see that happen again. Lamas will, again, will he go for a rush or will it be a passive opening? It looks like it's going to be eco again. Raider Buggy comes out, Harvester and Refinery here. Buggy's going to pick off these two buzzers. And again, no disintegrators. Probably, again, when he's scrim vanilla, probably don't expect disintegrators, especially versus Blackhand. He knows Lamas's Blackhand, and slow disintegrators aren't really good versus any nods, and especially versus Blackhand, because those Cabals can just strip through disintegrators quite quickly. And of course, there is this Garrison here as well, which is really hard for buzzers to actually de-garrison, because obviously you can see this fence line around here. It makes it really difficult to actually get in here and kill the Garrison. This is really annoying from Lamas on this power plant, taking out quite a chunk of the HP of that power plant with this Cabal and the Raider Buggy. And these Harvesters here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So players are even. Lamas is on the move, and we can actually see Aweg's actually moving his MCV to the middle of the map. So maybe he's going to go for dev tanks early in the middle. It'll be interesting to see how Lamas responds to this. Because it is not a play you see too often, that drone ship moving to the middle. Usually screen players aren't the ones to try and move to the middle. So will Lamas try and go into double war factory? Will he go for tech? Will he go into infantry? Or will he just eco? That is the question we're all waiting to see. It does look like he's going for a barracks here, because I doubt it's a 4th power plant. Yeah, barracks does come down, and we're going to see a shrine. It looks like a shrine is on the way. Now, what is Aweg going to go for? Is he going to go eco? He could just go for a ref in the middle. I wouldn't be too surprised. Yeah, so a refinery down in the middle. And he is going for that top blue Tiberium field. Neither player has made a move for the bottom, actually. Right, as I say that, Lamas is on the way, and we can see a shrine does come down. So it looks like he's going to go for infantry here early in the game, trying to push. I imagine this is just to try and push Aweg off this field as quickly as possible. He doesn't want to lose control of the center this early in the game, because obviously it's hard, because if Aweg gets this whole field uncontested, obviously he has this one in the bottom right corner to fall back on his own. Now, big chunk of infantry now moving out here for Lamas. And Aweg, to be fair, doesn't actually have a hell of a lot to deal with this. He's got Seeker tanks. He's got a lot of Seeker tanks, but not many gun walkers. This blue Tiberium Harvester is actually going to a really dangerous position, moving into this refinery, which is going to be under threat here. And Aweg realizes he's in a bit of trouble, because he's only got... Oh, big Buzzer Swarm, though. Big Buzzer Swarm. He did have the tier 2. He does get the Buzzer Swarm off. And the Buzzer Swarm... Oh, my God. The Buzzers have actually cleaned up almost all of that infantry there. He's actually trying to fight this infantry with his Seeker tanks. I'm not sure that's the right idea. He probably needs to send those Seeker tanks around to try and flank the Harvester line of Lamas. But it looks like Aweg, for now, is going to hold the line. He's going to start building Gunwalkers, I imagine. No shields on the way. More Harvesters actually being built from that. He's got 9 Harvesters, but only 3 refineries. Another refinery down for Lamas now. Has been able to get a load of that blue Tiberium, and of course Aweg did get a load from the north field, so both players sharing the blue Tiberium, which is always makes for a good game on tournament Badlands or Highlands if they're able to get one blue Tiberium field each. And Lamas is going to make a move here. There's a lot of Cabals here actually, and they're going to tank a lot of damage for these rockets behind the infantry line. These Harvesters are actually going to have to get pulled off the refining. And again, these Seeker tanks, I don't know why they're actually still here, because they can't do anything. There's nothing for them to kill here. They're not going to fight this infantry. And a dev tank actually comes out, which is a really peculiar choice. Look how many Harvesters he has. He has 4 Harvesters here. He's sending them all back to his main base, and he has 6 here. So he's got 10 Harvesters. Tier 3 is down. So Aweg, I mean, I think he's just having a little bit of trouble controlling this. He's got 10 Harvesters on this Tiberium field right now. That's not really what you want. That's definitely not the ratio he wants to be going for. I think he's trying to go for Devastator warships. I think that's why we've seen this fast tier 3. Gravity Stabilizer does come down. Scorpion tanks are here, so he's going to want to get those dev tanks back on the front line to defend against these, because they're actually picking off these buzzer hives. Another buzzer hive comes down. The gunwalkers are starting to put up a fight, and Devastator warships are on the way. Oh, these Harvesters have moved back into the fire of these Scorpion tanks and infantry. And Lamas is making a really big push down the middle. The dev tanks are finally going to come and support the gunwalkers on the front line. And these Scorpion tanks, they aren't going to do too much against this many dev tanks. There's 3 of them there. There's only, what, 5 Scorpion tanks, a 6th coming in now. And the infantry forces of Lamas have been all but cleaned up here. And Devastator warship probably isn't too far away from coming out. There it is. First Devastator warship comes out. These dev tanks are going to start to get overwhelmed here, I think, though, because there are quite a few more Scorpion tanks rocking up to the battle. There's only 2 left for Aweg and the Gunwalkers. I mean, they're going to slowly chip away at these Scorpion tanks and the repair tool, or the repair drones, I should say, on those dev tanks, making them really difficult for Lamas to dislodge. He's actually trying to focus down the war factory, and to be fair, it's not really going to fall, is it? I mean, it's just not. There's too much DPS here for Aweg. The Scorpion tanks really aren't that strong versus buildings, and now he's just sort of wasting himself away trying to get this war factory. And even if he got it at this point, it wouldn't really be worth it to lose this many Scorpion tanks just for a war factory. He does get the war factory, but I'm not too sure that was really worth the amount of Scorpion tanks that were lost in that battle. Dozer Blades is not being upgraded, so maybe he's not going to transition. I mean, he's not going to stay with Scorpion tank play, or he's just forgot to transition. Could be either of the two. Now, Aweg finally gets a second refinery up in the middle. Now, no tier 3. No, tier 3 has just come down for Lamas. But I think Aweg is in a really strong position. Now that he has held the middle, if he can get up a Hexapod, it's going to be really difficult for Lamas to break through, because obviously Blackhand aren't the greatest in the world in base push situations, and Scrin are naturally really good at them. If you got that Hexapod up with Devastator warships over the top, it's really difficult for a Blackhand to break through that, because there's the lack of stealth. These Tev tanks actually heading down here. They might actually catch out this Flame tank, which would be really nice. Has he seen the Flame tank? I'm not sure he has. These buzzers are all trying to come in to take that garrisonable structure out, but they are unable to do so. But this tip spike will go down. Now, this Flame tank coming to the back of the base could be really devastating for Aweg, because he's got absolutely nothing back here except one Gunwalker. Oh, Lamas is actually going to try and sneak in here and grab this tier 3. If he's able to get the tier 3, that could be absolutely devastating for Aweg. The Devastator warships try to fire a shot, but all of the discs miss. This Flame tank's coming in. I think he's going to get the tier 3. Or the Dev tank shoot! Oh my god, it just survives on basically 0 HP. Does he have a tip chem plant? Actually, it probably wouldn't matter. The Gunwalkers would shoot down a Vapor Bomb anyway. So plane for the Vapor Bomb. There's only 2 harvesters in the middle here for Aweg, so let's do something about that. He's got 9 harvesters sitting back there. He's got 11 harvesters, and we've seen him lose like 3 or 4, and he's still got this many harvesters. He's just been pumping out harvesters. Redeemer on the way now for Lamas. Wow, that tier 3 survived with the bare minimum of health it could have, I reckon. That is unbelievable. Another flame. There's another 2 flame tanks coming in. Oh, Aweg, he's going to lose his tier 3 for sure. There's no way he's going to be able to stop it with that little amount of HP. Hexapod facility does get dropped down just before the tier 3 goes down, but of course the Hexapod will get cancelled, because without a tier 3 you are unable to produce a Hexapod. The tripods and more Devastator warships have all been cancelled as well. Ichor Seed coming in. Now there is a dev tank over here to defend this flame tank. And Scorpion tanks in the north. I'm trying to pick off that tip spike. Already have destroyed the one up here, we can see. So both players down to 1 Tiberium spike. And Aweg, unfortunately, has been detected here. So he has got attenuated force fields, but unfortunately he's not able to produce his Hexapod yet. And this will be Lamas's time to strike, while there is only 1 tripod on the field, and the Hexapod unable to be built. And I think Lamas knows this. He wants to get that Redeemer out as quickly as possible and then strike in the center. Another flame tank here. He could actually try and go for the warp chasm. Yeah, he does. He turns and he's going to have a go at the warp chasm. Is he going to be able to get it? Probably not. He sort of messed around a bit too much there. And tier 3 does come down. There's so many flame tanks on the map by Lamas. And he does fall back. So there's 2 flame tanks going. You can actually see Aweg's almost like cleaned up a third of this Tiberium field just by long leeching, and is still having what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 harvesters in the middle of the map as well. So his economy is absolutely pumping. And Lamas, you can see he's almost out of Tiberium here. He's probably used Tib Siege. Actually, I don't know if he's built a tier 4. That's the one thing. If he gets a really good Tiberium Vein detonation on these Gunwalkers, it could really do the damage that he needs to fight his way back into the game. Because I think that Aweg is in such... It's going to be so hard to break this position. I think he's actually got... Has he got Blue Flame? I'm trying to tell. I know there is a visual difference for Blackhand squads when Blue Flame is on, but I can't actually tell what that is. I don't think he has Blue Flame. But the Redeemer is out. There's only 1 tripod. There's a hell of a lot of dev tanks here. So that's a lot of DPS, but obviously not much armor for those dev tanks. Actually gets a really nice force fire. Well done by Aweg there. So avoids the rage generator with a really good force fire on the ground. Now the Gunwalker's going to start to move in. Where's a Tib Vein? Oh, a Tib Vein right now would be absolutely devastating for Aweg. But phase on the Gunwalkers. He's going to go for a big phase crush. And the Hexapod is starting to pick away at the Redeemer's health with the help of these dev tanks. Big scatter move at the top there by Lamas's infantry. And we can see the Hexapod is starting to tank a lot of that damage. But of course the Redeemer is pretty much left to fight on its own now. Wow, and Lamas, I mean, he's got to be thinking, he's probably thinking to himself now, why did I not go for a tip vein? Because you could see that all of these dev tanks, all of these gunwalkers were sitting in the middle of that Tiberium field. Mantis coming in, trying to pick off that Devastator warship. I think he'll get it, actually. Yeah, he does get the Devastator warship. The Mantis does lose its life, however. And now there's a bunch of dev tanks here in the middle. I mean, he's probably almost got Rage Gen back here, so I always got to be careful. Another Rage Gen. And dev tanks are really good at killing each other. Yeah, there goes another Rage Gen. And the dev tanks, they're going to start shooting at Aweg's units. But Lamas is definitely under the pump here, falling back. He's going to lose his MCV, and I think with the loss of that MCV, he's going to be really on the back foot. And the Mantis just being thrown away. You don't want to throw away Mantis. They're expensive. $1,200, and he's just sort of thrown it away to an army that doesn't have any air. But I think Aweg is just going to be able to keep pushing forward here. The Redeemer trying to make a last stand, but it's running out of health. The dev tanks, of course, not normally what you like to see versus a Redeemer, but they do have quite a lot of DPS, and Lamas does tap out. And Aweg is able to get a second win on the board in the series. And that does mean that Lamas is under threat now. Lamas would feel a little bit nervous because he doesn't want to blow this lead. And Aweg, I mean, he's probably lucky. I think if Lamas had gone for a tier 4 there, he could have lost that fight. Aweg, he could have lost the fight. Big tip vein here, and you can just see, yeah, look at this. The Black Hand infantry spam, and he's just dropping, and you can see Aweg barely moving. Kill death ratio 9 to 1, oh, to 0.1. There you go. That's one of the highest kill death ratios I think I've ever seen. Obviously, the Cabals count as like 6 units or something, and Lamas had a lot of Cabals in that game. Anyway, that is game number 6. We'll move to game number 7. Aweg looking to pull back the series to a draw. Lamas will be looking to close it out. I'll see you guys there. Welcome to game number 7 of the series. We find ourselves on the map Tournament Airstrip. Look at this. I don't really have the time to sit there and look at the airstrip, but you can see it is quite a nice runway. Guess you land at this end, fly down, fly off this way, and when you head over to the right hand side of the map, as you're flying over, you will see Aweg playing as Screen Vanilla. He is blue, he is Screen Vanilla. He's just won his second game of the series and is continuing on, hoping to push himself back with a 4-4 draw. But of course, Lamas, as the green not vanilla, will be looking to stop that and get his 5th win of the series and secure the 3 points for himself. Buzzes on the south here. Has he gone for that middle spike? It doesn't look like he has. Lamas hasn't either. Now, maybe game number 7. We've seen 6 games. Maybe game number 7 will be the finally the time we see a rush from Lamas, but it doesn't look like it. Again, just going for the eco. No! Oh my gosh. Here we go. There is a bike on the field. I cannot believe it. We're actually going to see some early game aggression from Lamas, and I think that's a really good idea because Aweg has sort of got really comfortable at this stage of the series that he's not going to get rushed. And, well, you can see he has really bad eyes. If we have a look here, he's only got this buzzer. Is that buzzer going to get in? I mean, it might get in, but the bikes will already be gone by then. Sitting here, probably waiting for his 4th bike to come out. Refinery comes down, and off he goes. Lamas is going to move across the map with there's nothing here. Aweg is in serious trouble. Is he going for a Seeker? If this is a Seeker tank, he might be okay, but I'm pretty sure that's a Harvester. There's a Harvester. So the 4 bike's going to move out. The buzzer is going to come in, but it's not going to... This is why Nod is really good here for bike rushing, because of course... Oh my god, he's going to get a Harvester straight away. He tried to go for the blue Tiberium, but it does mean that Aweg is building Seeker tanks now. Is he going to get that Harvester? Oh my god. Okay, he does. Yeah, that Harvester somehow was just surviving there. But the bikes are going to be forced to fall back. But they do get what they were there to do, and that is to pick off a Harvester straight away and force out 3 Seeker tanks are now on the field for Aweg. He probably doesn't need any more. I'd be really surprised if he built another one. That buzzer not able to quite get that to that garrison. 3rd Harvester does come out for Lamas, and here we go. This is what I was hoping to see from Lamas a lot more this series. Of course, he has won 4 games without this aggression. But I think it's always good to put yourself in the aggressive mindset when you're against a screen faction. And he knows he's against a screen faction. He's known all series. But lovely to see that he's decided to airstrip is the map. I mean, it's probably the worst map he could have done on. It's so bloody large. He's decided to do it on the biggest map in the game, just about. But it's good to see that he has decided to put the foot on the gas and go on the aggression. Oh no, there's nothing down here. This harvester, yeah, he realized it straight away. Aweg has realized he's made a bit of a mistake there putting that refinery down, but he is going to get to the safety of his seeker tanks in time. This bike will... Oh, one rocket for one disc. They fire at each other. Lamas is starting to set up his own expansion here. And Aweg's getting... And this is the thing with these early bikes is you keep the screen player on edge. They have to build extra defenses once they move to their expansion because they have to defend 2 fields. And you, in the meantime... He should have taken the blue tip behind this. That's one of the big plays of when you get these early bikes out, you get this early aggression. You have the map control. You want to be taking complete ownership of the game and taking full toll over your map control. But Lamas not quite doing that yet, hasn't taken the blue Tiberium, so he's missing out a little bit there. Double war factory out for Aweg here. And surprisingly, I think Aweg is in quite a nice position. He's got double war factory seeker tank, which we know is quite good versus nods. Double war factory seeker tank does have quite a good success rate. I feel like versus nods, especially a nod that has gone for that early bike aggression, because you know that they don't have as much money ready for defense. Especially him, he did lose that one harvester straight away, but that harvester wasn't full of Tiberium. So that's really good for him. That engineer does get sniped. He was trying to take that middle spike. Now, of course, nod buggies don't detect stealth. Blackhand and mock buggies do, but nods do not. So he had to get a bike over there to detect that engineer. He must have probably saw the engineer and realized he can't, he couldn't remember where it was, couldn't force fire. I need to get the bikes down there to detect stealth. Scorpion tanks now coming out for Lamas here. And Operations Center is down. So he's probably going to see a similar build to what he's been doing before with a lot of laser capacitors of all 3 units. Venoms, buggies, and of course the Scorpion tank being the main DPS of that combination of units. Still no blue Tiberium being taken by Lamas. I think he's really missing out here. Even with this small force of Scorpion tanks, he could hold down the blue Tiberium. It'd be really hard for Aweg to actually do anything about that. We do see dev tanks are now coming out for Aweg. And I just feel like he's played a lot better since he's been playing as Scrin. He's been using Scrin's units. He's been using dev tanks really well. Of course, he gets shields for his Seeker tanks and his Gunwalkers. I mean, he could have done a very similar build that he was doing with Traveller with Scrin as well. I mean, he didn't have to change up from the Seeker spam with shard launchers. He could have done that as well, and of course he would have had shields to support. And oh my gosh, these Scorpion tank, these spikes are going to get cornered in the bottom of the map here, and Lamas will lose them, unfortunately. Forgetting about them in the bottom bottom right corner, but even if they tried to run away, there was units waiting for them. Finally, the blue Tiberium being taken by Lamas. And laser capacitors is in the way, so Lamas is looking to do the similar builds he has already been doing throughout the series. Aweg here with quite a lot of dev tanks. Needs to get them charged up. And I don't know what he's... Yeah, there we go. They are starting to charge up there. So the Scorpion tank's moving to the north of the map. Is he going to be able to push? I mean, Aweg is so split up right now. Lamas, if he pushed into this bottom area, he would be in a really good position because Aweg is so split up. And he realizes now he's got 6 dev tanks and 5 Seeker tanks just sitting up here away from the rest of Lamas's army. Or all of Lamas's army. It's all down here. Chemplan is down as well now. So maybe he's going to try and draw Aweg onto the Tiberium field. And, or he's starting to move. And there we go. Tib Vein comes down. Aweg's actually started to move that dev tank into the Tib Vein. All 3 of those dev tanks, I think, were out of it, but then moved into it. And so 2 dev tanks, 2 Seeker tanks, and a few disintegrators do go down there. Laser capacitors is done. And Lamas is going to make a move here. But there are quite a lot of dev tanks here. I mean, there's a lot of DPS here for Aweg, of course, though. The laser scorpions are going to be able to focus down the dev tanks rather quickly. But I think Aweg is going to hold. There's so many dev tanks here. I think he's going to be able to hold this off. Repair drones has also been placed down by Aweg. And yeah, this defense is going to hold. So Aweg, even after getting clicked and taking quite a bit of damage on those units, he is able to hold the fight. And Aweg will be feeling really good about his chances in this game now. And all of a sudden, I mean, Lamas is kind of on the back foot. Catalyst does come down. Oh, he's just placed a ref. He does get the sell-off, so he does get $500 back. He needs to transfer these harvesters now, Aweg. This Tiberium field is depleted. The blue Tiberium field starting to regrow a little bit. So obviously the harvester that Lamas had sent there has been diverted away from the harvesting of blue Tiberium. It's actually force firing down that Tiberium spike. A bit of an odd choice. He could actually take that for himself. I would be thinking I would want to try and get that for myself if I was Aweg here. Again, 3 harvesters up here. He wants to move them away because, especially with the Scorpion tank starting to move up here, it'd be really unfortunate to lose harvesters that are already on a dead field. And yeah, Aweg's starting to get them on the move now, but they're sort of moving towards the Scorpion tanks. But I know he will be fine there. Another refinery down for Aweg on this bottom field. Lamas going for a Redeemer instead, so he's going to keep going for units instead of trying to get out that economy. Tripod will come out. Bit of an unfortunate time for the tripod to come out because there are obviously a bunch of Scorpion tanks there. That War Factory will go down. There is actually another tripod here to support and a third one coming as well. So Lamas will lose a couple of Scorpion tanks. Oh, you don't want to be doing that with your tripods when you're fighting Scorpion tanks though. A lot of rear armor damage taken by those tripods, and the Scorpion tanks are just going to keep moving in. They don't care. They're going to overwhelm these these tripods. There's just too many Scorpion tanks here. And Charles is probably sitting there crying, saying how bad tripods are, but we can see that Aweg is actually making a move on this Redeemer facility. Is he going to be able to cancel the Redeemer? Will the animation reset, or will the Redeemer come out? The Redeemer is... The animation does reset, but the Redeemer does come out. Oh my goodness, that could have been devastating for Lamas if that Redeemer had been cancelled. But all of a sudden, I think that with that Redeemer coming out, Aweg is seriously in trouble. If he was able to cancel that, maybe he'd be okay. But of course, there's still these Scorpion tanks in the back of his base, tearing it apart. Photon Cannon does come down with the help of a tripod and some disintegrators. This Shock Trooper, this lone Shock Trooper will also be applying a little bit of damage, but I'm not sure he'll be able to turn the tide of that fight. But with the Redeemer coming out now and his tier 3 being destroyed, even with double refinery on this field, he might have a hell of a lot of money. But he's all the way back down to tier 1. And when you're fighting a Redeemer, especially a Redeemer with a flame weapon inside, you need a hell of a lot more than tier 1 to be able to deal with it. Disintegrators are going to be spammed out. These Scorpion tanks have been pushed to the top right corner, and a refinery is out for Lamas. I think he is in a very commanding position here. But of course, Aweg does have a massive economy, so if he's probably floating so much money right now. Yeah, 7k being floated, and we just heard there that Lamas is going to transition into Vertigo Bombers. So still not interested in setting up an economy. He's only got 1 harvester there. So he's gone really hard on this unit play. Has he been taking the blue Tiberium? Yeah, he has. Redeemer is cloaked and starting to move into the base. There's going to be a big rage gen. Oh, massive rage gen. Dev tanks are going to go down. 1, 2, 3. Not quite 3 dev tanks all destroyed there. So unfortunate for Aweg, the way that this has turned out. And the Scorpion tanks in the back here. There's actually only a Photon Cannon here left to defend them. Aweg is actually going to try and move in. There's Vertigo Bombers. They're going to take out the tripod. And when the wait, what? I thought 2 was enough. Maybe the tripod didn't get fully hit. But this Redeemer is actually in a lot of trouble here. Oh my god, he's actually going to kill this Redeemer. I think he's going to get the Redeemer. The Avatars do kill the tripod. No, the Redeemer's going to get away. Oh no. And the Seeker tanks are going to try and overwhelm the Avatars, but of course they're not going to have the DPS to do that. They are going to start to move in and go for this Redeemer again. Harvesters are being destroyed. Big mine drop comes in. And Lamas, Aweg committed so hard for Lamas' Redeemer, and it does survive. Tier 3 is back down now, though. And it looks like the Scorpion tanks on the right-hand side did get cleaned up. Vertigo Bomber's now flying in. Probably going to bomb these Harvesters here, I imagine. Yeah, we do see it's going to drop its bomb on that house. Oh, one of this Vertigo Bomber actually flew back into the base and might lose its life for it. No, not quite. Muzzle Swarm does come down, cleans up a few of the mines, but more importantly, cleans up that tripod husk. We can see Lamas did have an engineer queued to try and get that, but he can claim this Avatar husk instead. And looks like he's going for an infantry transition now. Do we see a shrine yet? Not yet, but I think he's building one. Now, Aweg, he's going to have to get some tripods out on the field here desperately. He's coming out the back. He's actually going to go for planetary assault carriers by the looks of it. He's got a tier 4 down. But he's going to need tripods or at least a hexapod. You need something on the ground. You can't just rely on pure packs in the air. You need to have an army on the ground. And this, when you take the disintegrators out of it, isn't much of an army. The disintegrators really aren't that big a threat either, because of course there is that flame weapon in the Redeemer. He's actually moving out with this Redeemer on basically 0 HP. So obviously feels confident he can win the game right now. Doesn't want to wait for that Redeemer to heal all the way back up. The disintegrators are going to try and move in. Asteroid actually called in on top of that army. And Rage Gen does go off, but I think most of the units were already on a move order. The dev tanks are actually shooting at disintegrators, which doesn't really matter. They won't do a hell of a lot of damage to that. So many militants being built. What is Lamar? This must be a mistake. I'm sure he doesn't actually want this many militants. Maybe 10 tops, but he's got 20 or 30 militants right now. And the planetary assault carriers are going to start to get involved in the fight. And of course, there's actually no anti-air here for Lamas. We did see the MCV was on the move. The MCV has not moved far enough. Vertigo bombers coming in, starting to bomb refineries and harvesters on the floor. More planetary assault carriers coming out now, though. Aweg's actually run out of Tiberium here, so this might be all he really has left to put up a fight here. A lot of buzzer hives coming down to try and defend. Planetary assault carriers, they're going to go after that Redeemer. I mean, Lamas is committing here, and he doesn't have anything to knock these packs out. Rocket squads are starting to make a move across the map, but they aren't exactly the highest DPS unit in the world. And the Redeemer does fall. Of course, this drone ship isn't going to go down. He doesn't have power, so he couldn't phase. He couldn't phase the drone ship as it lifted off. This tier 3 is going to fall. Another planetary assault carrier comes here. The rocket squads are starting to move in, but the Ion Storm will keep the packs quite tanky against just regular rockets. And these avatars are starting to fall, but Lamas is just continuing to push forward without a care in the world. Now, of course, planetary assault carriers on their own. I just don't feel like they're going to be able to hold this because they aren't very good versus infantry. They may be able to clean up all the avatars, but once the rocket squads start to get up in mass numbers, he's going to be in serious trouble. He's actually sold off every building. Why has he done that? Was there an attack in the back of a base that I have just completely missed? I'm not too sure. But Lamas is going to probably move in for the kill here. This is the last building. Aweg sells it. And Lamas will take the game and the series 5-2. Aweg, man, if it wasn't for those Scorpion tanks, I think he was in a really good position. And of course, that Redeemer surviving with the barest of health really didn't help his cause there either. But that's the end of the series. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Another really good one. No GDI featuring in this series, but a lot of good Nord versus Screen and Blackhand and Trav. So, there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed the series. Thanks to Lamas and Aweg for this epic series. And of course, thanks to Hulk and Dorito and all of the Russians that are currently helping run this league. Week 4 will be starting soon. So I'll have more games to cast and hopefully more games to play. And we will move into week 4 with a hope of more epic series. Thanks guys for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video. Catch you then. Bye bye.